Speaking to Newsfirst, Attorney General Sanjay Rajaratnam said that the matter has been handed over to a legal firm in Singapore. These steps were taken after Cabinet approved them. The Attorney General said that the amount of compensation claimed will be notified in the future. He added that the Marine Environment Protection Authority is to submit a report on the matter. Do you remember the extensive damage caused to the country and the Sea of Sri Lanka by the Express Pearl disaster? The Express Pearl disaster is regarded as the world's single worst incident of plastic marine pollution. The ship was carrying 81 containers of dangerous cargo and 25 tons of nitric acid when it went up in flames and sank in the Sea of Sri Lanka, causing untold damages that will affect us and the Sea of Sri Lanka for generations to come. Sri Lanka's shores were covered in plastic nurdles and carcasses of hundreds of marine creatures washed ashore. A large stock of bunker oil is still suspected to be inside the wreckage of the Express Pearl that is at the bottom of the Sea of Sri Lanka. The rapid erosion of the hull of the ill-fated Express Pearl could lead to a leakage of these stocks of bunker oil into the Sea of Sri Lanka, and the resulting pollution to the environment will be felt for decades to come. Even after such massive losses were caused to Sri Lanka's sea, why is legal action not being filed in Sri Lanka? Why are authorities just killing time? Why is action going to be filed in Singapore? According to the current estimates available, the damage caused to Sri Lanka by the Express Pearl disaster is $6.2 billion. The report on claiming compensation from the owners and insurers of the ship has been submitted to the Attorney General's Department, and against such a backdrop, Cabinet has granted approval for the civil suit to be filed in Singapore. Chairman of the Marine Environment Protection Authority, Attorney Asela B. Rakava, had previously told foreign media that the said decision was taken by the Attorney General's Department. What will happen if action is filed in a court in Singapore?
හානි හරහා අපිට අය කරගත හැකි වන්දේ මුදල අනිවාර්යෙන් බිලියන 6.4ට වඩා වැඩි. මේ දැනට අන්තර් වාර්තාවක් හැටියට තමයි මේ ඇමරිකන් ඩොලර් බිලියන 6.4 ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
The compensation that we can claim for the damages caused here is definitely more than $6.4 billion. Action must be filed in Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan courts have the jurisdiction to hear this matter. This incident did not occur in international seas. It occurred in the sea next to our coast. The law enforced in this area is the law of Sri Lanka. If you are planning on filing action in a court in Singapore, you must inform the people the reasoning behind that decision. Why did you take this decision, and how much is it going to cost the government? How much has already been paid, and who had approved those payments? These questions must be answered. If by any chance Sri Lanka loses the compensation due to the country, the institutions responsible for these decisions must accept the fact that it was their decisions that resulted in that loss.
මුදල් සහ ලංකාවට ලැබිය යුතු ප්‍රතිලාභ, ඒ වගේම අපේ රටේ පරිසරයට ලැබිය යුතු ප්‍රතිලාභ, අපේ අනාගත පරපුරට ලැබිය යුතු ප්‍රතිලාභ අහිමි වුණොත් එහි වගකීම ගන්නේ කවුද කියලා ජනතාවට මේ වගකීම් අංශ පැහැදිලිව කිව යුතුයි කියන එකයි අපේ අදහස.
Was the process to ascertain the damages caused by the Express Pearl disaster conducted properly? The members of the expert committee appointed to calculate the total environmental and other damages caused by the ship's fire had recently told the Sectoral Oversight Committee on the Environment that they faced several obstacles in assessing the environmental damage, as they were not allowed to go near the ship or inside the ship. The expert committee was of the stance that the estimated damages calculated by visiting the vicinity of the ship alone is over $6.2 billion. Against such a backdrop, the chairman of the Sectorial Oversight Committee, Parliamentarian Ajit Mana Peruma, directed the Marine Environmental Protection Authority and the National Aquatic Resource Research and Development Agency to immediately provide the necessary facilities for the expert committee to collect samples from the vicinity of the ship, as a failure to do so could be disadvantageous in the civil suit. Why are authorities following a lackadaisical approach in securing compensation? It was the Minister of Justice himself who revealed that bribes had been accepted to stall the investigation and process to claim damages from the Express Pearl. Attention was also drawn to a letter that highlighted many more corrupt deals connected to the Express Pearl.
එක්ස්ප්‍රස් පර්ල් සිද්ධියෙන් පසුව විවිධ ලේඛන අප
After the Express Pearl incident, we received many documents regarding the matter. Some of those letters were anonymous. We presented several letters that we received to court. There were several facts that created suspicion regarding the conduct of several officials. Therefore, we request responsible institutions in Sri Lanka, especially the President, to appoint a special presidential commission and conduct an independent investigation. Also, we requested the court to issue the relevant orders for criminal action to be filed against all state officials who were responsible for this incident.
දඩුවම් කිරීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය කරන නියෝග නිකුත් කරන්නට කිය.
Is it suspicious that Sri Lankan authorities are now going to file action in Singapore?
සමහර විට අපිට එහෙම හිතන්නට පුළුවන් මොකද
There is a possibility. The notion that this case should be filed in Singapore came to the fore recently. At the beginning of these proceedings, the authorities had not said that they are planning on filing action in Singapore. We have issues with why the authorities suddenly decide to file action in Singapore. Who were involved in making this decision and who decided to spend all of this money? Based on the allegations that are being leveled and these decisions that have been taken, the people could have suspicions regarding these processes.
තියෙන්නට පුළුවන් කියන සාධාරණ සැකයක් ජනතාව තුළ මතුවෙන්නට පුළුවන්.
Who are these individuals who are working against Sri Lanka and preventing Sri Lankans from securing proper compensation for the Express Pearl disaster? Sri Lanka is in this economic crisis today because of fraud and corruption perpetrated across the public sector, starting from the highest echelons of government. Sri Lanka is only seeking a bailout of approximately $3 billion from the IMF to address the economic crisis. If the compensation due for the damages caused by the Express Pearl disaster is secured, that alone would add up to several times the bailout offered by the IMF. The allegations that this massive compensation rightly due to Sri Lanka is at risk of being lost due to corruption and sheer incompetence cannot be disregarded. Shouldn't action be taken at least in this 11th hour to secure compensation for the damages caused by the Express Pearl to the Sea of Sri Lanka, the country as a whole, and her people?